Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff. And I am pleased to say I am accompanied by the usual gang of Carlos with Investor Fuse and Carrot and John Whitfield of Investor Fuse and Carrot as well, the dynamic duo. And I am pleased to say we have a special guest, Matt Viebrock, aka the Veebster. He is the founder of Let's Grow COO. Some people call him a magician. Other people call him a wizard or simply an expert tactician when it comes to all things operations in your real estate investment business. He has been involved in, honestly, like over 2,000 real estate transactions. He has helped countless real estate entrepreneurs, and he has learned firsthand when trying to be an expert at your operations. One of the most difficult things is having the right people part of your organization. And he has seen people struggle with this. So he is bringing to us today a new program, something a little different. He's put his own swing on things because he realizes finding the right salespeople, the right acquisition reps to help you grow and scale your business is not easy. And so he has a way to place highly skilled and trained acquisition assassins into your business. And when he brought it up to us, we said, well, shit, dude, we got to learn more about this. Matt, we are happy and pleased to bring you on this show. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
All right. So let's grow CO. So this acquisition thing, what is the name? What is the name of this?
Acquisitionreps.com. Pretty simple.
That's easy.
Yeah.
All of our guests should head over to acquisitionreps.com and check it out. But let's dive in. Carlos, I'll let you lead it off, my man.
Veebs is a longtime friend of the show, a longtime Investor Fuse Carrot guy. I'm curious, we had consultations about your business when you were doing full-time real estate. You have a huge background doing transactions coordination. What are the pain points you've seen and challenges you've seen the last decade that have now led to this latest iteration of your business and how you're helping real estate investors?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you noticed, Los, I got the 80/20 hat on too. And honestly, I think the biggest challenge for most people seems to have been like you guys used to talk about, is we've moved from the age of, just transactional doing deals, right? Like anybody could do it, to it's the age of operations, right? Mm-hmm. So the folks who are, I think the days of just kind of getting into the business and just, you could do a couple deals here and there and stuff like that. But if you want to have a real business and actually make something, you got to get good at operations, right? It's because the people who are actually doing a lot of volume and really making something that scales, they have all their systems and everything dialed in, the systems, the people, the processes, you name it. Right. So I think that's probably the number one thing. Number two, obviously the market's changed a ton. And so I actually find that it's harder now, obviously, to dispo than it is to do even acquisitions. Anybody can tie up a deal, but it's what makes it a good deal? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and if you don't have I always like to tell people on all my clients is look, shit rolls downhill, right? And can we cuss on this show? Is that okay? Okay.
If it's okay with Brand, it's okay with us.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So, shit rolls downhill, right? So it all starts at acquisitions. And so if you don't have everything dialed in on the acquisition side first, it's just going to make all your operations so much worse further down the line.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that, though.
Yeah, they don't, until they get into it and they're like, oh man, I'm spinning a million different plates and they all start to fall, because you didn't type a good enough deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with Matt's background, John and I think Brandon too, but John and I know Matt's background of wholesaling and being with some pretty large companies, just seeing a lot of transactions. So I think Veebs just can kind of consolidate thousands of transactions and see what made things go smoothly, what made things not go smoothly, how could things get optimized. So I think that's kind of his foundation or operating system that he's built on, when he started branching off doing his own wholesaling and now more consulting and education and everything the last few years, which is where I kind of see Matt's brain working through and how he fits in to consultants, coaching, other people just in our community. Because it's a small world. The wholesaling world is really a small world. So that's where I've seen Matt, the last 6-7 years that we've been working more closely with him. An interesting perspective for sure.
Do you like, I think it's interesting. We talk a lot about the type of customer that this industry, wholesaling specifically, kind of attracts. And you're talking about, in order for people to scale, they've really got to move into this age of operations. Do you think the typical person who gets into wholesaling, finds some success and wants to scale, has the skill set or even the whatever you want to call it, the brain chemistry to do it right in terms of what you're saying? Hey, these are the people that are doing really big thing. Do you think the average person in this industry can do it by themselves or at all? Like, what's your thought process on that? Because we talk a lot about like the type of character that gets attracted by the money you can make in wholesaling.
Average, no. But I do think that the person who has the right mindset going into it with the idea of, hey, I don't have to do it all myself, right? And I was reading something, I can't remember the other day. I think it was like on Business Insider or something like that. That were saying like the most successful CEOs are actually just lazy and have ambition. And I would categorize myself as somebody like that, right? And so, yeah, I was like, BB, I can see you definitely down there too, right? So I think when you go into it with the mindset of, hey, I'm going to do this for a little bit of time, but then I'm going to start to add little layers, to build the foundation up. I think one of the problems, those people go too fast because they see all the shiny objects with things and they hear all the other gurus talking about, oh yeah, you can make $1 million inside of a year. Well, sure, but it might take you 10 years to get there, and people forget that overnight successes don't happen really overnight in a lot of cases.
They were more, it's just tough. I feel like an old man when I say it, but it's like back in the day, it was easier to do that. It was a different game. And so I agree with you. With a guru who made his $1 million in his first year of 2018 or 19, like Nick Perry. We love talking about Nick, even though he's never been on our show. Just drop his name 24/7. But he started a heyday. I started in the heyday too, and it was so easy to make money.
Yeah.
And one of the things nowadays, right, is when you're chasing that, you hear the reasons why, right? So like Nick will talk about AI, he talks about his sales organization, his COO, he talks about all these things, and you could start going through countless people who say, or like Tiffany and Josh High and all of their Excel sheets and their processes and their data aggregation and all the things that they do, which is operations, right? And so people naturally think, well, I got to go do that. I need to go get like my operations dialed in. And it's funny because obviously as a COO of a fractional operation, like an operations company like you are, where you provide fractional COOs to people, you probably see it firsthand. Like a lot of these guys get overwhelmed in the operation. Shiny object syndrome is what I'm calling it, right? Like in this aspect, like I got to do what is it called? The EQ. What was that thing for a while? Where everyone had to do that certain business process, right? And they have to follow these
EOS.
EOS. And I got to do EOS. I got to work on hierarchy. I need a brand. I need a slogan. I need my website. I got to do. And they spend all that time doing that and they pull themselves away from sales, or they're not training their sales guys. And then what happens? The money dries up. And on the pre-show, you made a comment. And it was like a lot of people focus on the operations, but what they forget is like you need your acquisitions, that the cart before the horse kind of thing. Operations is putting your cart before the horse. You need sales to even have an operation, right? And so today, although operations is important, do you agree that a lot of people can get caught up in the trap of worrying about the operations before they worry about the sales?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I mean, and that's part of the reason why I wore the hat today, the 80/20 Investor Academy hat, was because to remind people, it's like the 20% that's going to give you 80% of the results is your sales department, right? So don't focus so much on trying to build an operation when your operation you only need to be focused on right now for the time being when you're first getting started out is sales, right? Because sales cures all, or revenue cures all problems in most cases.
If you have enough revenue, it'll ride over the hiccups and road bumps of a bad operation.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen some of the most screwed up operations you could possibly imagine, and they were doing millions of dollars a year in revenue and profit, and it was fine because even though everything else was looked like they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off on the backside, on the front end, you wouldn't know it, right? Because
the money's coming in.
Money's coming in, they're crushing it, and they're just making a crap ton of money, and they can just throw money at problems, right? Which I guess that's one of the nice parts about when you get to that level. It's like you don't have to worry about having everything perfect because the money solves a lot of the problems.
Yeah, I've personally been there. You
Yeah.
know, you hire one sales guy and you step away. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go focus on that. And the sales guy hits some road bumps. You neglect the training, or maybe he leaves or whatever. And guess what? The best operations don't solve 0 salespeople because one guy left,
Yeah.
or that guy got sick and no one's on the phone that day, or whatever it is, right? And now you're over here working on your EOS or your slogans or your new AI, whatever none of that matters, right? So like,
yeah,
tying that back, before we dive into your program, if I was new and let's just say I've got some deals and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, I need sales guys. Maybe I got one or it's me and somebody, but I want to step away and I want to build my business. How many sales guys do you feel is necessary to have a good, not a big, like not crushing, not a Nick Perry status, but like, I want to make money. I want $1 million revenue, 2 mil. How many sales guys do you think I need where focusing on operations becomes more important to me as the owner? Does that make sense?
1 to 2.
1 to 2.
1 to 2.
So you think even with one, I can step away?
No, not step away. Probably at 1.
So no matter what, you need 2, whether it's me
Yeah.
and 1 or 2 together and me outside of it. You need 2 guys on the phone at all times handling leads.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've seen.
Yeah.
So, and then that way, especially if you don't have like a lead manager, which I don't even think you necessarily need a lead manager if you have mostly inbound leads coming in. Different story if you got cold call leads, right? But yeah, I mean, they should be able to handle most of it. So, and the other thing too, kind of going back to what we were talking about during the pre-show as well, is like, and we talk about, the average person that gets in, it's like, yeah, they want to make $1 million a year and all that other kind of stuff. And they see all the shiny objects. It's just focusing on one piece at a time, right? Like EOS, none of that other crap matters until you actually start building one layer at a time. Start with sales, get good at sales, right? And then you personally yourself as the owner need to get good at sales. And then once you've got more deals coming in than you can handle, then go do what we call a freedom focus or time study that actually came directly from, the Academy, Lois, if you remember that. And we put all of our clients through that. And we try to figure out how can we buy you back at least 10 to 15 hours a week of your time. Go hire a virtual assistant from the Philippines or South America or something like that. If you're doing less than $300,000 a year in revenue, just get somebody from overseas who's a good generalist, like as a VA. And then that freedom focuser then becomes, once you put that on your list, everything that you're doing that's non-revenue generating, that becomes your delegation list and therefore a job description. You give that to a virtual assistant, say, hey, here's all the things I need to get done. Very simply, record yourself on Loom doing that thing, send it to the VA, and then let them create the SOP for it. And now that's their job, right? And then now you can get back to doing more sales at that point. Then when you got more leads coming in than you can handle and you're trying to do too many different things, get a transaction coordinator, right? So that's going to take a lot off your plate too.
Well,
and then after you know that, then go hire the sales guy.
Yeah,
but you wait intentionally until things start to break or there's too much stuff going on in acquisitions. Like you intentionally wait until that point.
Always get to a breaking point.
But
you wait until the breaking point versus setting it up before, like insurance or.
Dude, like setting it up before is like masturbation without the payoff. I mean, let's just be real.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right, but
it's ridiculous to try and do that. And I say that from experience because I've done that, right? I set everything up. I did it all wrong the first time I tried to do it. And I tried to set everything up just perfectly and correctly. And then I didn't have sales coming in. I went into massive amounts of debt that I then ended up having to pay off, right? Because I did it wrong, and it's like, but then the second time I did it and then I just focused on sales, things were so much better and so much easier.
Good. I like to hear that because it's a balanced BP of like having stuff set up versus like the ready, fire, aim. Or
that's not what people want though. Like it sucks. Sales sucks. It's awkward and it's embarrassing and it's stressful. And I got to beg this seller to sell me this deal at a discount. I'm competing with so many people. I just want somebody else to do it. And operations is a great escape from and a great excuse as to me being a business owner and lying and being like, I don't need to do sales. I'm doing all this because let's be honest, most people want to get out of that sales role, and
they're itching to get out.
Yeah, they're itching to get out. And now you've just told the entire audience and me that I can't do that, that I have to do the easy stuff, the easy stuff. Hiring a VA is easy.
Yep.
Hiring a transaction coordinator is easy. Hiring whatever, an executive assistant is easy. Those things are easy. You know what's hard? Doing sales, and even worse, hiring good sales person.
Well, real quick, I want to say something because you just hit it. It becomes an excuse, right?
Yep.
Putting everything else together becomes a big excuse.
100%.
And operations is not the $1 million skill. Sales is.
Yeah.
Right?
But
So
it's a good lie to tell ourselves that we're still doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then when your business fails, you go, well, I was doing everything. Like, man, it was that VA from the Philippines that was on my acquisition team. Like, he didn't make enough call, but really it was you stepping away from it.
Yeah.
But to bring it full circle and to try to get into like the sales aspect of things is hiring. I think we all agree. Everybody here has used a VA, whether it's as an assistant, as a data miner, whatever it is. Hiring a generalist VA is easy. Hiring an executive assistant is easy. Even a TC, easy. Those things, they're a dime a dozen online. It's not hard. You can have a subpar TC still close deals. You could have a subpar executive assistant manage your calendar. You can have a subpar generalist entering data into all your stuff. You cannot have a subpar sales guy closing $50,000 acquisition reps. You cannot do that. So you need the good ones. And what do good ones need? Training, leads. They need these things, right? And that's what you saw originally, right? Like that's what kind of molded this thought process of trying to provide trained acquisition reps to people who have that realization that like I need this sales function to work better.
Yeah. And of course, everybody wants it like yesterday. They never, right? So it's like I get people like my clients who would come to me and be like, "Hey, Matt, I need an acquisition agent like today." And I was like, "You don't understand. Like this takes a while you're looking for a needle in a haystack, right?" So it's like you better be prepared to be staying in the trenches for at least 3 to 6 months before. I mean, it can literally take up to three months just to find a good person. Then another 3 months or more, possibly to get them fully trained up to the level of where now they can consistently close 4, 5, 6 deals a month.
Well, it's not just that. We forgot a piece. So you bring me in today. You're training me. Let's just say a month. Let's say a month till I'm really comfortable. Not great, but a month. But during that month, we all know lead cycle timelines. Even the best lead that you're going to get inbound PPC direct to your website coming in, talk to them. If they don't mess it up because they're new.
Yeah.
Right. You still got to go through maybe a couple calls, 1 week, 2 weeks, right? Then you got to get under contract, do your showing, all these things before you even get paid on that deal. You're talking 60 days out from the time that person's good enough to close the deal to the time that lead's nurtured, to the time that lead's under contract showings and actually close and that checks in your inbox. You have to be able to pay for the leads, pay for the salary, pay for the transaction, all the operation stuff, carry that cost 60 days out while that guy's still closing. So you have 60 days worth of these expenses. And most people, that's tough, man. They expect someone to come in.
Best case scenario.
Yeah. Best case
scenario. Yeah. I mean, you talk about like doing an ovation or something like that. I mean, dude, you're talking 180 days or sometimes up to 270 days.
But you just said it yourself earlier. They want the person today. And I would correct you and say they don't want the person today. They want the revenue today.
Yeah. That's true.
But that ain't happening. And so that's the problem. And we talk about it, John. I mean, John's like an expert when it comes to like lead gen, and he helps people all the time with investor fuse, generating these leads into his CRM. And it just takes that long. Like, what do you always tell people, John? Like, it's not like in the guests we've had on that do PPC, it's not spend money today and the lead closes today. You need what? How many months you think of like money? They have to save up money to do PPC.
3 months at least.
At 3 months of money on PPC. Yeah. And Matt, like, what are you saying for an acquisition person?
6 months.
So like, if anyone's listening, it's like this combination, 3 months and 6 months, best let's split the difference, right? And say 4.5 months. Yeah. You're waiting a full quarter or more, right? Yeah. Like a quarter and a half, like to get paid.
And an owner without using something like Matt's service or anything like that, if they're just completely doing it self,
longer.
They go from they go from working real estate motivated seller leads for 6 months, marketing spend until they actually make revenue back, to then they're moving into how am I doing that with my own hiring process, going off Indeed, referrals, whatever, and working those leads and always interviewing. That's like something Hormozy says is like always be interviewing. Hormozy and some other people is like always be interviewing. Just have those leads in your pipeline for your own hiring. So it's like when you're doing that yourself, that's part of the owner. You do your freedom focuser. That's part of what the owner is doing. Some level of HR/interviewing, working their own leads.
Because what Viebrock's bringing to the table, and we haven't even got to yet. John, you remember when I was doing nonstop interviews. I literally would have my ads out, and all through Facebook, like everything, and I'd get the leads in. I'd have automation scheduling the calendar invites. We'd do a constant hiring. I had like a training course, everything just in-house, just for my team. And some would make it, some wouldn't make it a week, some would. The amount of moral of the story, amount of time suck that I spent doing that in training, and then the morning meetings, the Excel sheets of tracking, all these things, the one-on-ones, the call reviews, all these things, just to even get them comfortable enough to be on the phones alone, right? Like to be closing deals.
And you had entire support staff too. Like you had QA people and like
QA managers. I had everything going. John helped me build some of my flows and stuff, but like it was hard, and ultimately it was just not where I wanted to be. The stress of that, right? Like I needed to be on the phone, and I went back on the phone because like I was waiting for that money to come in, and it's hard. So you're now solving the problem I had, and a lot of people still have. And how does that look, right? Like,
well, I'm curious. I feel like we put problems into Matt's mouth. I'm curious what he thinks the problems he's solving. Maybe they're the same. Maybe there's more. Maybe they're different.
Oh man, so many problems. Well, kind of just to kind of back up a little bit, like how all this came to be. So I've been doing fractional COO consulting for high-level real estate investors for the last 2.5, 3 years. Prior to that, I had a coaching program teaching novations for 3 years with my previous business partners, Eric Brewer and Steve Trang. And with that, I came to realize that like in all those coaching calls we were having, it was never about like the thing we were trying to teach. It was always around something with either operations or sales, right? So that's how the impetus came to be with Let's Grow COO, sold my shares in that back to Eric, to start this company, because I saw an opportunity to help people kind of bridge the gap between the two. And with a fractional COO who comes in and understands the sales side and also understands the operations side, right? But again, when I kept noticing as we were placing all of these acquisition reps with the different clients that we were having, especially because they thought they needed immediate, like I needed somebody to come in and immediately get that revenue coming in, right? So, but that it just takes a while. And so if your operations weren't set up correctly, we'd go find these A players and then we'd place them with a B or a C owner, right? Who just didn't have everything dialed in. And these A players would come in, yes, they'd close some deals, but then everything would start to fall apart because they didn't have their operations already set up, right? So it's a kind of one of these chicken or the egg kind of scenarios. It's like, what do you do first, right? So that's always been the kind of the big conundrum that everybody was trying to figure out. So we're like, okay, as a team, we sat down, like, how are we going to fix this, right? To make sure that the owners that we're bringing on do have everything kind of set up, at least the very bare minimums, ready to go to have somebody on their team to be able to manage these people, right? Because the things that I've noticed are, one, owners, like I said before, are lazy, and in most cases, and they want somebody else to just go do it. And they also really suck at training, right, is the other thing. And most people are not born sales trainers. They're not born trainers, period. They just go do the thing, right? So it's like, how do you take the knowledge that you have in your head and place it into somebody else's if you're not good at it, right? So that's where we're trying to kind of bridge the gap with everything. So the problems being the time, right? How, like you guys were mentioning before, how long does it actually take to get somebody up and running? And two is making sure you actually have the right systems and everything set up in place, at least the minimums, to get somebody ready to go and keep them successful, right? Because the other thing too is acquisitions and sales in general is one of the highest turnover positions in the company, right? So, and you think about it, you lose an EA, you lose a TC, something like that. Is it going to cost you a little bit of money? Sure, for the turnover aspect of it, right? But you lose a salesperson, you're talking minimum, probably mid 5 figures up to, I've seen
50 to 100K a month lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Minimum.
Yeah. And as soon as you lose that person, and then you have to go find somebody else, it takes 3 months for them to do that. Then you do another 3 months or so until they're fully up and running. That's a half of a year of potential lost income from whatever the previous acquisition rep was doing, right? So it's like you're starting over every single time. So what we're trying to figure out too is like, how do we compress that time cycle to get a new person in who can immediately start generating revenue, right? So that's how all this kind of came to be.
I'm in some group chats down here, and literally the last couple months, I've seen multiple people post, "Hey, looking for an in-person acquisition manager in South Florida that can work out of the office. 5K referral fee if you bring somebody that we're hiring." I'm like, man, that's not a bad little cut there for connecting, but that's part of the exact reason why. 50 to 100K a month loss, and 3 months to get somebody up and running. On Steve Trank's show too, I mentioned to one of my buddies, Pace Morby was on there talking about like a month or so ago. We reviewed that episode as an episode here, but he was talking about like, man, I thought my acquisition reps keep leaving. Like it's all this stuff. Like it must be something wrong with my operations. Every other role in his businesses was completely fine. I think the average person he stays 5+ years in his company, which is amazing. But he was talking about, it's like, dude, it's just the mindset of the acquisition. Like they're very entrepreneurial, high turnover, everything like that. So it's just kind of the nature of the beast a little bit. So it's
they
yes
leave,
and no.
They want to start their own stuff or something.
Yes and no. I think the other part of the problem too is that this industry is broken in terms of how we look at hiring, right? That's another big part of the problem is you see so many people who just want to bring on somebody as a 1099 independent contractor, paying 100% commission only, right? In what other industries
so true
do you see that where like that is the go-to? Nowhere.
So true. You're starting them off. You're starting them off as like a temporary relationship.
MLM.
MLM. Yeah, MLMs. Yeah, exactly. And good luck with that.
I was a part of that when I was like 18. You start selling those little Clipper magazine, door knocking, those types of things, right? You eat what you kill. I agree with you, 100%. I mean, I was always W-2. Salary plus commission. If you're going to build a business, right, you're going to do that. But why is that? Is that just the mentality? Is that what you're saying? So you're saying it's broken. So it's broken because we treat them like that, so they leave us because there's no loyalty.
That's 100% what it is. Because I can't tell you how many times I've had a job ad out for like whenever I was running for my own team, and I would always do W-2 as a draw against commission, right? And then what I would see people like these people that we were interviewing say was like, hey, I really appreciate that you actually offer us a salary, at least for the first 3 months, right? While I'm getting trained and building up my pipeline at least a little bit, because like that tells me that you're actually willing to invest in me. And I asked, I was like, so what would have happened if I would have just offered you a 1099, 100% commission only job? They literally told me, I don't think that you really care about me as a person. I think it's just about the money.
Yeah.
Right. They don't feel like we're not willing to invest in them. So if we're not willing to invest in them, why would they invest in us?
Yeah.
Right. You have to look at these acquisition people, these sales reps and every person on your team as an investment, right? Because that's what it is. So going back, BP, to what you were saying at the very beginning, in terms of like, can the average person do this? No, I don't think so, because you have to stack these little pieces in place before you're ready to invest in like wholesaling, for instance, is a gateway drug, right? And then we all want to get into fix and flipping, and then we all want to have rental properties and stuff like that, right? It's no different with building a business and having people come in. You have to have the gateway drug of actually making a whole bunch of money first. Then you reinvest some of those profits back into the people who are then going to help you scale up, right? So I think that's how traditional businesses look at the hiring process. As a true investment versus just, using somebody as leverage, and it's like, well, shoot, there's a million different people out there doing sales. I can go find somebody else later. It's not a big deal, but they don't realize the true cost of that when they're taking that approach.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how do you think sales people differ from anybody else that you would potentially kind of hire for your real estate investing business? Like, are they unique in expectations or unique in skill set to the point where like that's also like making this imbalance for how people perceive acquisitions in our industry? Like compared
I
to like
think
a transactions manager or marketing person or whatever.
as with all positions, I mean, I think it comes down to there's certain behavioral profiles that match for different types of roles, right?
Mhm.
So, like for acquisitions specifically, like I'm looking for mavericks, captains, and persuaders, on the predictive index
PAPI index,
to join my team, right? If I'm looking for a TC, for instance, I might be looking for a specialist or a collaborator or something like that, right? So it's different types of folks that come down to it. Now, in terms of like how to deal with them, you're right. A lot of salespeople are much more entrepreneurial, but that's the other fallacy that I run into a lot of times too, is they think, oh, I want somebody who's got real estate experience, or I want somebody who's got a ton of real estate, not real estate, a ton of sales experience that, they want to go start their own business someday. I don't want somebody who's entrepreneurial. I don't want anybody who has real estate experience, especially in the acquisition role. Dispo, a little bit different. I actually would love to have somebody who has a lot of experience, like listing houses in the past, to be my dispo rep, right? As a realtor. That's a totally different story. But for acquisitions, no real estate experience whatsoever. They just come with too much baggage and too much.
I've made that mistake.
Yeah, a lot of bad habits.
I was about to say that, bad habits.
Yeah.
Bad habits. I used to do it this way. We did it this way at my own. Well, you know what? You'd still fucking be there if it was.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, well, this is how we do it here. So yeah. Tough.
Without getting off topic here, I would kick back at you and say I don't think the entire industry treated salespeople that way until they went virtual. I think people were more prone to care about their employees when everyone was back before COVID, it was all in office. We all know that. It was you have your local talent. There was commission, but there was typically, I don't remember anyone just using just salary. Majority of teams had a commission. Majority of teams had a salary plus commission system, right? And then we went virtual, but before we went virtual, they were in the office, you're training them. There was more I care about you. And the employees or the AC reps, like they felt that because we would build camaraderie, right? Games in the office, all these things. And then virtual happened. And, things got different. And that's when I saw a huge change to commission only.
I think it was actually before that.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, because I got my start back in 2011, where I worked for New Western Acquisitions, and I had come on right. Come in.
All right, dude. You cannot use New Western as a basis. That company they had the biggest turnover.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is hear me out. Is like once other investors started seeing the kind of success that like a New Western was having, and people started modeling what they were trying to do, or they were trying to anyway. And a huge part of what they were doing was just get people in the door as fast as you can.
They were doing what Carlos said: constant hiring, constant lead gen. It was just. But the small guys, I'm just saying, like, everyone was salary and commission, and then we went virtual and everyone started switching because, again, you're hiring. Then it was the overseas acquisition reps because you didn't want to pay. And so now it was the opposite. You pay a high salary and no commission, which brings its own problems. But they never felt like they were cared for. So here I am, right? I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I will. I am a phenomenal sales guy, but I got no job, Matt. And I'm looking for a job. And I come to you and I say, man, like I don't know let's just say I'm a maverick. I'm probably a maverick.
You're a maverick.
Just by the name of it, I feel like I'm a maverick. And I come to you and I take the PI test and you see I'm a maverick. You talk to me and you get this good feeling about me.
Yeah.
How do I then become this sales guy? Like you call them A players.
Mm-hmm.
How do I become that A player for you to go with an A? I don't want to be with a B team. What do I have to do, and what do you do for me to become the A player to go with it? Like, I want you to place me with Nick Perry. What do I got to do? What's my training look like, and how do you place me with somebody?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what we do is we put you through the ringer when it comes to our interview process, right? So just like you talked about, like we got all the automation set up. It's like, only certain people get interviewed, if they do that. And so the first thing you do is you take the PI, right?
Cool.
And then you go through, a screener interview type of questionnaire. Then we do a 1 hour interview with you. And we're really like diving into, I want to figure out on that call, do you get the job? Do you want the job? Right? Little bit of, do you have the capacity to do it from that perspective?
Yeah, am I a talker? Do I have good
Right.
comebacks? Or am I
Yeah.
hesitant and I'm shy and I don't know how to respond
Yeah.
to you type of thing?
Yeah. But the other thing too is like I'm weeding out people who want to have some sort of business or want to become an investor someday. Right. I don't want those people. I want somebody who wants like a really high paying job. And
What if I
honestly,
had a business and it failed?
don't want you.
Okay. I got a lot of those in my ads, like people who I had this started, it failed, going back to sales.
Yeah. I really, it's not that I won't bring on, but you're going to have a lot of extra hurdles that you're going to have to jump through.
Okay.
Right. Because you had that entrepreneurial spirit at one point, which is great. Right. I mean, good on you. Like if you want to go get in real estate someday, that's totally cool. But I'd rather hire somebody who's going to be an entrepreneur versus an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So put you through the ringer. We do an hour of that screening to make sure you're not going to go start your own thing as soon as we give you the training and just go see ya kind of situation. Then we do a 2 hour block of time where we do another interview with you where it's like, now we're going to be testing for cultural fit, right? To kind of see which one of the clients we're going to be able to place you with. And then the other hour is just a mock sales call. Like we're going to put you through a mock sales call. Now it's not that I'm trying to get you to close me. I'm trying to, there's 50 different points that we're testing for on that sales call to really try and identify, okay, can this person actually handle, do they have thick skin? Do they have the ability to deal with objections, or like, what's their tonality sound like? All those sorts of different things. Right. And so we have that. And then we also have you take what's called a TA12. So not only are we doing predictive index, we do the TA12 from Team Architects.
Never heard of that.
Dude, it's phenomenal. I'd say
What
you
is it? Say it one more time.
The TA12 from Team Architects.
Is that Steve Richards?
That's Steve Richards' company.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the PI, but on steroids.
Cool. So let's say I passed that.
Yep.
I passed all my interviews.
Yeah.
Passed this TA12.
Yeah.
Now what?
Now we get you plugged into the training immediately. And for 30 days, it's nothing but 30 days. It's classroom training. And it's classroom training, and it's almost daily calls. So we have four weekly calls on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and for an hour at a time, right? And we're just doing nothing but role playing, objection handling practice, listening to calls, all that kind of stuff.
Hang on, am I getting paid?
I was about to say, like, is this considered a
I got
job?
3 baby mamas. I got bills. I got an apartment.
This
I
is
got
for
a Honda
people,
Civic.
Yeah, no, this is for people who already have a job. So treat it like night school.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So is that the hours then?
What's that? Like night school?
Yeah. If I'm working, like,
yeah,
it's 9 to 5 to do this training, or what is that?
Right now we're doing it that way, but we're going to be switching it up to where it's going to be outside of normal hours, right? So that way people can do more like a night school approach. But once after the 30 days, once you've gone through that and you've proven that you have tested out, right, and that you can actually complete the mock sales call, like we do an actual closing call at that point, and like, can you actually get me to sell my house kind of situation. And then once you pass that, then we actually put you on the leads, right? So then
do I get paid at that point?
Yeah, once you're actually closing deals. But again, this is like night school, right? Okay. So you get paid when you do deals, and you get paid when you actually get placed with one of the companies that we're going to place you with, and then they'll pay you a salary.
Do you think you're weeding out people by saying this is the classification that I'm looking for? Somebody that's still working another job wants to make this transition. Do you think you're weeding out people who like, well, why can't I do this in 30 days? Why can't I go through the whole program in 30 days?
Yeah, they absolutely can. It's not that we're weeding them out or anything like that, but we understand that a lot of people don't have the ability to not get paid while they're going through this training, right?
Okay.
But it's like we're basically giving this to you for free, essentially.
Oh, so I'm not paying you?
No.
So I don't need money to do this. I can become your sales guy. I might do it just to be your #1 fucking sales guy, bro.
Dude, I'd have you do it for sure.
So 30 days. Have you? I mean, obviously you have, but like, if I suck, let's say I do all of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then the mock sales call come and I don't know, whatever, I biff it. Like, you just let me go?
Yeah. Just let you go.
Fuck,
Yeah.
that would suck so bad if you were that dude and like you're like you spend 29 days and on day 30 you're like,
I mean, we'll offer to coach you up, right? I mean, a little bit to say, hey, like here's
but the
where
odds are you're not making it 29 days if you
Right.
suck.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing additional like one-on-ones and stuff like that during that time, and also making sure it's like we're doing mock role plays the whole way through, right, for the first 30 days. So it's like we're gonna hear if you suck, and we're gonna be like, dude, you're gonna need a lot of extra training, right?
That reminds me of some videos you see of like the AI where people are interviewing for a job and they have like the AI going. Have you seen that? People getting like engineer jobs and like crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we do a lot of like the one-on-one kind of stuff too,
Yeah.
right? So, because like I'm not going to give you our leads I'm not going to put you on our leads if you suck, right? So, because like that's the other thing too is like I wanted to kind of put our money where our mouth is and say, look, I'm willing to bet on these people before I place them with somebody, right? Now, full transparency, I'm going to keep like
I was literally just about to say that.
I'm going to keep the absolute cream of the crop, but there's only a handful of people I can have for my own real estate team. Like I can't hire every single person, right?
I was going to say, why are you just giving away
Cherry picking deals?
Yeah.
Cherry picking deals, cherry picking acquisitions.
No, all the deals are for leads that we're paying for that these students are going through. So like they're getting our
leads. Are they
leads.
Inbound leads?
So they're cold call leads that Nicholas from Lead Mining Pros, his team generates them, his US based cold callers. They generate those leads and then they pass them over to us through investor
So
views.
you're training on cold call leads only?
Only on cold call leads.
Well, listen, I'm just going to say this right now. In today's climate, maybe not in 2018, but if a motherfucker can close cold call leads and be an A player, they're good.
That's what I'm saying.
Because closing a cold call lead is completely different than a PPC lead.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
to have that skill set because the mentality of the seller is different. Yeah. I mean, okay, I see where you're going.
Yeah.
So
that's why I only do cold call leads because like those are the hardest ones to close.
They are.
Yeah. So it's like it's like they talk about in the military. It's like you when you go to you don't train you train like you're going to war. Right. So that way, when you actually do go to war, it's a lot easier than what you expected. So that's what we're trying to do here.
So I've now closed how many deals for you to go somewhere?
5.
So I've crushed it. I've closed 5 deals. And
there's a caveat. You got to close 5 within a 3-month time period during the training period.
That's a cakewalk.
Yeah, you say.
I mean, if your leads are good. So like I will.
Do you guarantee a lead level?
What's that?
Do you guarantee a lead level for that acquisition?
He has to.
We'll send as many as we need to. I mean, we're generating a ton of leads, so it's
Well,
quality. He meant level of quality.
I mean, are you aiming for a KPI though of leads to close per acquisition rep?
Yeah.
Because if it's like 150 to 1, I'm a little outdated on my cold calling criteria. That's probably accurate. If it's 150 to 1, like
it's 100 to 1 about roughly.
But so let's say they're 200 to 1. Are you
leads?
saying that's an A player?
Not raw leads, qualified leads. So like where somebody's actually talked to them beforehand.
They've gone through some script. You have the address. They want to sell to a certain level.
Yeah.
But so like if we say somebody closed 5 deals in 3 months, but they went through 3 times as many leads as another person, is that like a factor that you tie into analyzing them and placing them? No. Don't care.
No, because it just depends on how the leads fall sometimes. You get 3 good ones in the first week and the next 97 suck, or you got 97 shitty ones. Like that was what I always told my guys is like, you don't know when your 3 are going to hit or your 5 are going to hit. They can hit at lead 50, you get 1, and then maybe you get the next 2 right at 98 and 99. It's just, you don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too is we're setting it up to where, so this is why we chose Investor Fuse for the CRM that we're working from, right? Is because we can put all these different students in groups of 10, right, inside of Investor Fuse. And so when we can set it up to where, like, when a new lead comes in, it's only going to one specific group, but then it rings everybody at the same time. And it's like whoever's going to pick up first is the one who's going to get that lead.
That feature in Investor
Yeah.
Tools is phenomenal. Whoever
Yeah.
invented that was a straight genius.
Yeah, seriously.
But
well, and the other thing I love too is the rules-based system, right? So it's like if they haven't actually talked to somebody within I think like 24 hours or whatever, it can go back in the hopper so then anybody.
Whoever came up with that idea is also a friggin' genius. They knew what they were doing. But let me ask you this, because I'm broke, dude. Like, again, I got 3 baby mamas. I got a Honda Civic souped up, ready to go, and I got bills to pay. Car pay, I don't want the repo man get me. You've now made me go 30 days, right, working at Mickey D's, trying to pay my bills. And now I'm with you and I'm closing leads. So because as an owner, the reason why I ask this is as an owner, I'm trying to figure out how this guy's been taken care of and what his capacity is to deal with shit. So I get for 30 days. But now these next 3 months that he's closing these deals, are you paying him salary and commission, or are you waiting? So because if I don't, like John said, you don't know when these deals are going to close, right? Like the level of leads. If I get him a month 2 and it takes 30 days to close, potentially you're talking about this guy not getting paid for 4 months.
This is not, again, for somebody who doesn't have the financial ability to weather this out. This is why you have to.
So you're also weeding them out that way too.
Yeah, like if you don't have a job or you don't have the ability to wait to get these deals closed, then you got no business doing this. Period.
So what is the time commitment you would say in that 3-month period they need to put in to get to those 5 deals in 3 months?
Minimum 10 to 15 hours a week.
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you got the leads, I guess I'm just skewed because I've never, all jokes aside, like I've never been in that sales position where I've worked for somebody. So it's like, as an owner, I know how busy you could be doing everything. But yeah, I get it. Like if my only job is to call the leads that come in, like I get it, 10 to 15 hours, that makes sense. So you could, 3 hours a day calling verified good leads in my CRM, data's there. Yeah, I get it. I'm just, again, I'm skewed.
This is literally their only job. Like it's like to be like flies on shit whenever a lead comes in, like call them up and try to close them. That's it. I mean, that's literally the only job of an acquisition rep.
And they're all Filipinos?
No, they're all US based.
I know. I just
like what? No.
Oh.
They're all AI voice agents? No, I'm joking.
Damn it, now I forgot what my question was gonna be.
I don't want to hire anybody who's overseas. It's not that they can't do the job. It's not that I've seen some of my clients be successful with overseas acquisition agents, but dude, it's like trying to find a unicorn, right, in a magical forest. It's one is gonna be amazing. So, US based all the way is what I suggest.
You only placing virtual, or you work with teams that are wanting in-house?
All of these reps that are going through this is 100% virtual. So if you're not looking for, virtual, then none of these people are going to probably be for you, unless just by chance, they're in the same town as where you're at kind of situation. We do sourcing, for clients who do want in person, but I got to be honest, man, in this day and age, if you're still trying to go for in person, it's going to be tough to find somebody who's willing to go to work for that. Right. So, that's just
a lot smaller.
It's possible, but it's
possible. But
but we know a lot of people in small. Not everyone lives in Tampa, Florida, Miami, or Vegas, or Scottsdale. Like, I mean, that was always my problem in Lakeland. It's like, and Lakeland's grown in the last decade, but when I started, it was like my talent pool was so small.
Yeah.
Everyone was in Tampa, like all the big. Everything's into Raymond James, like all the big sales guys, they're all working there. No one's coming into Lakeland to get a job at this little wholesaling company that's scaling. So I get what you're saying. I do think there's a place. I think my heart stays out for in-office stuff. Like,
don't get me wrong. I think if you got anybody who can be in office, I think you're going to crush it. Probably do 50% better than somebody who's doing virtual.
It's just not as feasible. It's not as feasible.
Talent pool is just so hard to do. Like, especially if you are in a market with less than 500,000 people. Yeah, you might as well go virtual.
Yeah, right? But again, if you're in Charlotte or Scottsdale, it's different. So so I've passed this. So we now understand what you put me through, right? Like I get it, and I'm ready.
Hold on. So did I make money in those 3 months for those deals I closed? Okay, so there is commission. I could get commission.
So I'm coming over to Carlos's company, right, or whatever, and I am paid. I've got so I'm leaving happy. Like probably what would you say? 5 deals? 5 deals, 3
5
months?
deals. Yeah.
What's the average? What am I making? Like 50K?
Average
What's my
deal
average?
size about 20,000 gross profit. So you're going to get $2,000 per deal,
So I'm
probably.
probably walking away with 10K in my
Yeah.
pocket, going over to this next,
Mm-hmm.
my next journey on this path. Now,
Yeah.
as an owner, do I interview this guy? Like, who's interviewing me? Is Carlos interviewing me? Because how do I know Carlos wants me?
Yeah.
Or
So
do
I
you
mean,
just say, here you go, you're taking Brandon?
no, they go through an interview process because we want to make sure it's a good fit between both the rep and the company, right? So we try to place. This is why we do all the personality assessments and everything like that up front. We try to understand, culturally, what are they looking for and everything, because we put all the companies we work with, we do a pretty in-depth screener interview to say, hey, what kind of person are you actually looking for, right? And then we put all that information in our database, and then we try to actually make them up. So
how do I know, as the person that went through all of this, that I'm ending up at a good company?
Well, so yeah, so we charge right now $15K for the placement fee, and the company, when they do that, they pay half now and half upon placement. But what we're doing when we do that is for 3 weeks, we're putting them through. We don't call it a vetting process. It's really more to like help them make sure all their operations and everything like that are set up. So like we're actually going to help them define what their KPIs need to look like based on what their goals are. We do a half day mission, vision, values, goal setting, and planning session as well with them. We're trying to also, we do a full audit of their ops, HR, marketing, and sales departments. And we give them a report at the end, and they say, they have to have a score of at least 80% before they're ready to hire one of our reps. Right. So as long as they've got at least all that stuff nailed down, then it's like, okay, now you're ready to bring on somebody. And then they have to prove to us afterwards, if they're not qualified yet, then we're going to help them out and get them up to the point where they have all that stuff in place. And then now that if you're getting placed with somebody, with one of these companies, we've already had a pretty in-depth look at them. And the other thing is we have our CFO company that we work with, G2 Business Solutions, huge plug for them. They're awesome. They do a full audit of the financials for that company to make sure that they actually have the money to spend on marketing, to spend on salaries, and all that other kind of stuff.
Okay. Let's just stop for a second.
Yeah.
Because you used a lot of big words. If I take my hat off as the sales guy and I come back to a listener, right? I'm a listener. And you just scared me. And, you said audit, finances, and operations, and you're checking me out. And we all know this business, right? A lot of people, they're not lying, but, a lot of people are puffing their chest of what they are. And so, I don't want you to lose some listeners, man, because what you're offering, I think, is pretty freaking cool. And I haven't even finished the tail end of listening to what you have to say. Yeah. But you just scared me. And now I'm thinking, well, I'm not even going to call Matt, because no way am I passing this. I'm just a dude doing, a couple deals a month with me and my brother. And like, man, he's going to rip me apart. And it's going to be embarrassing. And then people are going to know. So like, can you paint? I know it goes wide. Like there's a lot of different scenarios, but can you paint the audience and us a picture of like what I need to be or what you expect? Does this make sense? Like what I need to be or what criteria I should have before I call you so I don't embarrass myself?
Yeah.
Like, is there deals, money, software? Like what's the bare minimum I need to have to show you I could take one of these guys on?
Yeah. You got to have, I'd say a marketing budget is number one.
How much?
10,000 a month.
Does that scale based off of how many reps they already have? So it's 10,000 per rep.
10,000 per rep is usually what I'm looking for, right? Okay. If you're looking to do inbound leads, right? Okay. Now, if you're doing mostly like I've got guys.
Let's just stick with inbound. Let's stick with inbound.
Yeah, if you're doing inbound leads, 10,000 a month is what I'm looking for there. I need to see that you have at least a decent CRM in place, like InvestorFuse, right? That has all of your workflows kind of already ready to go. And if they're not, hey, we're going to help you with that. Like we're going to help you figure out.
You'll help me, but I need a CRM and I need 10K. Okay.
You need 10K a month. You need to be able to have the ability to pay somebody for at least 3 months.
So how much what do you want to see in my bank account?
I want to see 3 months worth of marketing. Right. Actually, I would just say at least 1 month worth of marketing. I want to see that you got leads coming in. Right.
Okay.
Like, show me that you've got at least, I'd say, so the magic number that we found in terms of number of opportunities that one acquisition agent needs to have in order to be able to consistently close anywhere from 3 to 4 deals minimum per month is between 20 and 25 opportunities per week, right? So if you've got that many that are coming in, you should be able to close consistently 4 to 5 deals per month from that one acquisition rep, right?
Okay.
So it all depends on how many deals you're looking for them to close, right?
Yeah, but how much money do you want me to have? Because just because I'm closing deals doesn't mean the money exists in my bank account. We all know that.
I know. Yeah. So by the time that you're ready to hire somebody on, I want to see 3 months worth of their salary saved up. So for just 3 months, and that salary, depending on where they're at, if they're on the East Coast or West Coast, you're probably looking anywhere from 3 to 4,000. Somebody's in the Midwest, you're looking
So
at
let's say
probably 2,500 to 3,000 a month.
so let's say 15K in the salary plus 10K in budget. Now
Yeah.
let's say I got 25K, right? That's bare minimum. But I mean, but aren't you worried about next month? Because I've personally talked to companies when I was doing some investor few stuff with John. John, like they got 10K for 1 month and they're literally banking on closing a deal to be able to
Oh, yeah.
afford. So the next month of cycling. So is 25 just the minimum?
Well, it's also, we look at how many deals you have in the pipeline too,
Okay.
for that exact reason.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to do the audit and say, okay, and then based on like what's your contract to close rate with everything. And if you don't know what those numbers are, we can kind of get a rough idea by backing into it. That's not a problem. Right. But we want to get a rough idea of like how much you expect to have coming in within a certain amount of time. Right. So
25K, let's just say maybe 5 deals in the pipeline, a decent contact to close ratio. And I don't need to be scared if it's not all perfect, because if I have that.
Yeah.
Now, what about my team?
As long as you got a TC, you're good. And if you don't have a TC, we'll put
What about a dispo? I don't have a dispo. Am I disqualified?
No.
Okay. Why?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because if they're closing deals, the owner's good at dispo.
No, it's just because even an acquisition, like I used to do acquisitions and dispo at the same time too for the longest time. So like we train these people on how to also do a little bit of dispo as well. But the other thing too is we're training them on how to do novations. And what we try to do is we get them to list as much as possible on the MLS. One, because that's also where your bigger rips are. And two, it's going to be a lot less of a drain on your having a team of extra people to handle that dispo for you. Right. So the way that we're training the reps during the training process is you go as deep as you possibly can. But as soon as they move off your cash number, that's cool. We can give you a little bit more money, but in exchange for that, you have to give us the ability to put the property on the open market, right? And take it to our private list of investors. So as soon as we do that, then it makes it a lot easier.
Does it matter if I've only been doing this for 6 months?
I was going to ask the same question. If I came from another industry and I had 200K sitting in my bank account and like, I'm going to make this business, does that matter to you?
No.
Cool.
As long as we can get everything set up correctly, I'm fine.
So you don't need a history of success?
No, as long as you're willing to put in the money and put in the time to make it work, we'll work with you.
That'd be my only. I might disagree with you on that, because I feel like a lot of people come in with money, but like.
Well, the other thing too is though, like, if you can assure that acquisition person will have salary and leads, you already know they can close. Let's say the business doesn't fall out, they'll come back to you and you can replace them potentially.
Yeah, we're going to replace them, but selfishly on the other side of it too is like if they got more money than time, right, into this business, they can borrow our experience from that, right?
I guess that's.
Yeah, I mean we're a fractional COO company as well, right? So like
I'm just talking about burnout, dude.
What's that?
But I guess what I was referencing was so many, like Carlos, every week, I swear to God, I talk to Carlos. She's like, yeah, I talked to somebody in solar or this business or this business. They think about getting into wholesaling. But a lot of these guys come in, and I knew a guy who came into wholesaling, a boatload, very rich. And he didn't want to write. Like, it sounded great on the outside. Gets into it, it's a lot of work. I'm like, well, this is not as easy as everyone made it sound. And they shut it all down.
Yeah.
So that's where I was asking about the experiences, like in that instance, like, because as the sales guy, putting my sales hat on, like that would suck. You placed me with this company, 200K, and they just wanted a cash grab. They found out it's a lot of work, and now they're shutting it down, and now I'm without a home again.
That's also why we put the companies through a bit of an audit process too, right? I mean, we're trying to kind of screen for these sorts of things. So we're trying to make sure that they're not just doing a cash grab. Like, this is an actual business that they're trying to do. And if they're not ready to sell that up, we're not going to work with them.
So you're looking, so on top of all the other criteria, it doesn't matter their experience per se, but you're looking for almost like the PI index for a sales guy. You're looking for a certain personality trait about I don't know what the word is, but like their ability to stick it out in that they have a passion to do this, and it's not just about money. Because maybe you see me and you're like, so what have you been doing? You got 200K. Okay, what's your business? Well, for the last like 6 months, I sold solar and I did this, and then 6 months before that, I was doing like currency exchanges, and 6 months before that, I was selling perfumes. And you're like, okay, this person bounces around a lot. Like that's probably a red flag for you.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see them sticking with something for just like with somebody who I'm interviewing for a job. I want to see at least, no more than 2 jobs over the span of 2 years. Right.
So, for example, I could come to you and say, I got 200K, and John example, man, I'm 22 or whatever. I just had a lawn mowing business with my buddies. We saved up a shit ton of money. I'm just tired of it. I want to get into real estate. And so all my savings I want to put into this, because eventually I want to own mobile home parks and apartments. And, and this is my gateway. So eventually I'm not going to wholesale forever. I want to get into buying rentals and home. Now, how does that sound to you?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
There you go. Okay.
How long do you have that business for, the lawn mowing business?
3 years. I don't know. My entire high school career. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have the grit to stick it out, then we'll work with you.
So it's that personality trait of like, and then did you like the fact that I wanted to grow in the real estate, right? So you're looking for multiple. It's not just the money. It's not just the deal flow. To be a company that works with you, you're looking for that thing of like, they're going to be in not just wholesaling, right? Because you can use an acquisition rep doing rentals, buying your own deals, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And so how much do I pay you for this?
$15K.
Half up front, half after.
Yeah, half up front, half after.
Cool. That second half is when you get that agent, right?
Yeah, so you only pay $7,500 up front. That, like I said, that's going to get you all the stuff to make sure you're properly set up. And if you're not, we'll help you get that done, right? And then on the back half, you pay us the other $7,500 once they're placed.
So I would never lose money. So you interview me, I'm interested in your services. You interview me, I pass that interview. Maybe I don't get the 80% that you're looking for in the audit. That I'm not losing that money, right? Like you'll help me get to that 80% before I get that person. Cool.
Yeah.
What if I don't? What if you just don't? What if I'm a piece of shit and you're like, no, do you keep the 7,500? You should.
No, I'm only keeping half of it because that's my hard cost that puts you through the process of interviewing you.
Well, I would have kept it all and been like,
I probably should. I might change that in the future, but no, like if you're not going to move forward, like I don't want to keep your money. Like I'm not in the business of trying to screw people over.
Yeah, I get it.
That stuff too.
Maybe as you grow and like the pool becomes bigger and you got to put more restrictions, because guess what?
Yeah.
I mean, it would put some restrictions on some people where if they're not serious about it, like they're, because listen, if John's example, 200K, you're not going to worry about $7,500 down payment. You're not going to care if it comes back per se. It's just the cost of doing business. But if you're the guy who's only got 15K in his bank account, you're going to care about that, right? Like that's going to be, so there's a difference to it. I mean, how long you been doing this specific thing?
This specific thing?
Yeah, I mean, like how many people have you rolled through?
This is a new program. Okay. So this particular one's a new program. But I mean, I've been doing this for myself and for other people.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, a long time.
Years, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known you for a while, and you've always talked about the sales stuff and you're training salespeople. I think sometimes we text and you're always like, oh, I'm doing this. And it's like, so this just, when you mentioned this to me the other week, it seemed like a natural progression from everything else you've told me.
Yeah. We had 2 different programs, right? So there was the fractional COO consulting side of it, which is really for those companies who are doing $1 million plus in revenue. But we're like, okay, so how can we work with people who are doing less than $1 million in revenue, right? And so we had a program that was for specifically training executive assistants on how to become a second in command for somebody and then there was also the sales training side of it. Right. So then we were also training reps and all that kind of stuff. We weren't actually giving them leads or anything, but we were placing reps with different companies, and then we would put them through the sales training process, right? So this was the natural progression of that, because what we were noticing is that the people that were going through that sales training program is that they bring on a salesperson, like I said before, they didn't have all their stuff together. The rep would do awesome. The company sucked, right? And then they come back to us and they're like, what didn't this person work out? And I'm like, it's because of this, 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 and this, right? And then so it's like, how do I fix that problem? And we married those two programs together. And then we just did it backwards, where we was like, hey, we're going to train the reps first. Then we place them with a company that's already been pre-vetted. And then if you guys want, then at that point we can continue moving on with, additional coaching and consulting on the backside of it.
Yeah, because this is all well and good. And it's a very, like, you got a very good heart to do this. And you could give me the best acquisition person, but Carlos and John, tell me if I'm wrong here, as you guys dive in with companies all the time. That's only the beginning of the problems, right? Then we start to get into software. Then we start to get into connecting flows and automation. Because what you have, and I pass your test, and I'm using InvestorFuse and smartphone, shout out to smartphone, and it's like, that's good, but now I'm growing, and now the problems grow. And I mean, if I needed your help to do this, odds are I'm gonna need some help on or at least your connections, right? Because Matt's got connections all across this industry. If there's anyone other than Carlos who's got more connections or the same amount of connections, it's probably Viebrock here. And so why wouldn't I want access to that, right? Because Matt, like, dude, these innovations are good, but like, I don't have agents out in this area. Do you know anybody? Yeah, you do. You know what I mean? Like, Matt, like, I don't have a software for this. You can help with that, right? Like, hey, we want to dial this in. You can help with whether it's transaction coordination, dialing in, dispo, dialing in, JVing. I'm sure you know JV partners all across the freaking country.
Yeah.
So getting into this, you're telling me you're going to help me as we go, and you offer me solutions for that too, to grow my business.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this is just the first part of it, right? And honestly, like the only reason I'm not charging like for the ongoing coaching is because I wanted to make it optional, right? Because I know eventually you'll come back, once you've seen that the acquisition agents are doing a good job. And then like we were talking about in the it's like you're going to hit a ceiling where it's like things are going to start to break, and then you're going to come back and you're going to be like, crap, I don't know what to do next. And it's like, well, I've got a solution for that. Like we handle all these sorts of things. Because guys, I mean, I've been dealing with companies that are doing, $1 million to $10 million a year for the last, 5 years. Right. So it's like, I've seen
roadblocks.
What's that? Oh yeah. And they still hit roadblocks big time. And
but I'm going to come back to you too.
What's that?
I said, I'm coming back to you. You mentioned that. If one of your sales guys is crushing it for me, why am I not calling you for 2 more?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's the best lead magnet ever.
Well, yeah.
Easy outsource decision.
100%. But when you bring on 2 more
problems.
Yeah. Way more problems. Yeah.
And I call Matt up and I'm like, Matt, like, I don't know what to do. Like, my CRM sucks and like Podio's sucking a lot of ass right now. You're like, let me connect you with Carlos and John. And like that, I don't think people understand, like, to have, I guess I'm switching here, but it's like, yeah, we vetted this whole program and the program sounds cool, but a lot of it has to do with you. And it's like, it'd be very beneficial if I was growing my business to have somebody in my back pocket that I could reach out to that could help me with these things. Yeah. Like, can you help with that? Like softwares and stuff like that and JVs, and I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, we help with all the software stuff. I mean, in fact, like we're actually working with another company right now to help them with their entire flow. I mean, this is a company that's doing 10 million plus, a year kind of situation. We're literally setting everything up for them, right? So, and it's a totally different industry. Specifically, we're doing fractional COO consulting, not just for real estate, but also for other types of industries. But I mean, we will come in there and we'll help you with whatever you need. Right? That's the whole point of having a COO in your back pocket, essentially, who can come in there and fix whatever the problems are to help you then go drive revenue. Like, that's the goal, right? So the other thing, I think one of the things you mentioned, which I think is super powerful, and you're right, is your net worth is your network, right? So being connected to like all you guys, and then myself, who we can reach out to anybody with a text or a phone call, say, hey, who do you know who can do this? That's going to shorten your learning curve so much, and to where you're not going to have to go through all the banging your head against a concrete wall for 3 years like I did before you figure this shit out. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Because that's how long it took me to figure it out. Yeah.
Well, hey, even overnight success, or like I said at the beginning of the show, it's like, Viebs has worked with a ton of companies. I'm curious to hear what other industries you're in now, but has worked with a ton of companies, ton of transactions, is teaching sales and novations, literally was in a novations education and sales company for 2 or 3 years. You said with Eric Brewer, like the top novations guy. So that's part of the value you're getting. You typically pay for things with money or with time and energy, experience. So I think that's what you're getting, a lot of consolidated, specialized knowledge and experience with Viebs and team. And also acquisitionreps.com is a heck of a domain to have too.
Yeah, thanks.
As a side note.
I was shocked it wasn't taken yet whenever I got it.
Oh wow! I was about to say, how much did you pay for that app or that URL?
Funny enough, less than $50.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
It's good. Good deal.
I have a portfolio of
I know.
GoDaddy domain. My wife, she sees them coming through because we just got hit in July for like so much money, and all. She's like, what is all these? What were you doing? I'm like, nothing. That's just the annual bill of renewals for all of my. I said, one day somebody is going to come to me and say, I want cryptohomeoffer.com, and I'm going to say, I have all kinds. Every time I have an idea, I go buy the domain.
Yeah,
and it's like.
Yeah, my wife kicked my ass for that one day for the same exact reason. So.
They don't get it. It's like land grabs. You know what I mean? Like,
literally digital land grabs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. I've got a question, and then we can kind of move into our ending kind of statement, unless there's other things. But you're going in on powering in or putting into businesses acquisition reps that are killers on the phone. And I know quite a few people in the industry that are going the opposite direction and wanting to put AI to do all follow-up.
We didn't know he was going to say this. He's going off book here.
I was prepared for it. I had a feeling it was coming.
Even going to the point where they can close a deal and sign a contract. Like I know people that are actively working towards this goal and want this to happen because they see it as a way to reduce overhead and increase profit margins. What are your thoughts about that, and how do you why do you go into this knowing people are doing that and thinking that your business model will still succeed and theirs maybe will fail or whatever that outcome might be?
I actually don't think they would fail at all. I think an acquisition rep, I don't think anybody's truly going to be able to replace fully sales reps with just AI in the future. I think somebody else is still going to have to manage that at some point, right? But I also
you said ever, you mean?
What's that?
Did you say ever?
I don't know about ever, but certainly within the next 5 years, I don't think anybody's gonna be replacing just sales reps, right? At least fully, successfully, right? I think that sales is one of those skills that is really tough right now for AI to just fully take over. And you're going to run up against a million different seller situations where the AI hasn't been fully trained on it yet, to where you have to have a person who can think for themselves and think critically to be able to overcome some of those issues, right? So I think one of the things that, like the advent of computers, really just made workers 10 or 100 times more productive, right? I think AI is going to do the same thing for sales reps. Right. So you might, instead of whereas before you might have had to have a team of, let's say, 10 sales reps, now you might only have to have one because the AI is doing a ton of the work. Right. And then you're just stepping in to handle, the rep is just stepping in to handle the most difficult situations that the AI can't do. Right. And that's what I see is probably going to be happening for at least the next couple of years until we reach AGI, and then it can start to do all the things that it's going to replace all of us anyway. You know what I mean?
The only contradiction you had there in that statement, because I agree with you, is the fact that you said you need somebody to think for themselves for the thousands of seller situations, but there's not one person, unless you're gifted or you're a natural entrepreneur, that can think off the top of their head and come up with a solution for all those things unless they have experience dealing with it, right? Which is where the training comes in. But if you can spend the 30 days training a person in all those scenarios, you probably could spend half the time training AI on those scenarios. So that I would disagree with you on. Now, I am anti AI. I love AI, but I also feel like humans, it is tough to sell me on the fact that I think grandma's selling her home to AI. I told a story where I was trying to find, I forget what it was, a plumber or an electrician, and they had an AI assistant answer the phone. Was there for 2 or 3 minutes, and I felt like I was getting a proctology exam. Like I was just like, they were just asking
Yeah.
me questions, and I literally just hung up the phone and called a different vendor, got
Yeah.
them on their from their website, talked to a real human, done.
Yeah.
It was, I just didn't want to deal with it, dude. Like I want to talk to a person when I want to do business, and maybe that's just me because I'm old.
No, I agree with you. I mean, that would be also my argument that goes along with this is at some point people are going to want that human connection as well, right?
100%.
100%.
Now, some people, maybe like younger,
Not all people.
yeah, some people might just want to just have it, click the easy button and, sell my house, get the money in my bank account, done, right? I think AI has a place for that. But as people get older, especially the baby boomers, they're going to want that human connection for a while, right?
Now, we've talked about like lead managers, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Customer service, like I'm thinking about doing it for like some of my like answering maintenance calls and stuff for my mobile home park business, just like 100%, right? But actually closing a deal, like I get where John's coming from, but I feel like there's like a middle ground between you and John of like what you guys both said, where maybe it's going to meet.
The next natural progression with all this, though,
I didn't say I believed in that, for the record.
No, he didn't.
No, I know. I like to. I like to.
Hey, it was an AI deepfake.
So the next natural progression from this, right, is like we're just training acquisition reps right now, but where I see this going is like we're gonna have to train acquisition sales managers, right? That's the more important part of this because it's the sales managers who have to have that more in-depth training to then know how to program the AI to deal with those sorts of situations. But then when the AI fails, then they can step in and handle that themselves. Like that's where I'm eventually going to take
like a handoff call.
Yeah, exactly.
Like AI's like, hey, I got my manager John's here, and he hands over the phone to John. And John's been waiting for AI to say, hey, I got something to hand you. So which is where like there's that middle ground I was talking about, but also with what you said of like, I think it's going to reduce things. So yeah, I think like you will be able to reduce the amount of staff because AI will take the load, but you're still going to need, maybe now you only need one rep or two. I mean, somebody like Nick Perry might go from 5, I don't know how many he has, 5, 6 reps down to just 2 and do the same volume.
Dude, I've seen it happen. I've seen guys that we brought on who they've literally done, I don't know, 10 deals, made $250K in a year, or like within an 8-month period. We brought him on. We started working with him. Harlan Shelton, he's a guy that's out in California. He's one of my clients that we worked with. I mean, the guy is crushing it now. And he's just got like one sales rep. I think maybe he has 2 now, but he had one sales rep for the longest time and is now he did like $1 million within a year just from hiring one sales rep. Right. So that's all you have to have. And if you have the right systems and process and procedures and AI in place, like I said, I think it's just going to make your company 10 to 100 times more productive by having AI versus not having it. And if you don't have any AI built into your business, I think you're going to get left behind in a huge way.
And for anybody listening, he's not saying how. AI could come in many forms. It doesn't need to be sales. I know we're talking about sales. You could have AI as your data mining, your data inputting, as AI as an executive assistant, as AI as the lead manager, AI to write stuff for your website, create your website. Like there are so many ways. Moral of the story is AI lifts the load.
Yeah.
And you can help it lift the load by using it. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, that's intriguing. One question I had before we go into our final here, and it's kind of like what John asked, but we ask it to a lot of people, is I guess you're biased on this too, because outside of your business, right? Let's just say in a vacuum, how do you see the state of this wholesaling industry with all of the laws coming out? The states escape me, you got to have a license, you have to notify the seller, it's got to be in the contract that the seller's allowed to cancel, all these different things coming through wholesaling, just straight out illegal. And then the TCPA and the spam likelies, all these things that are coming at us right now. How do you see wholesaling going in the next 2, 3, 5 years? More compressed, harder to get into, couple big guys totally gone, and just not even where we're at today. And honestly, you should go do something else. What's your opinion on that?
I think regulation has its place, right? I think we have gone from the pendulum swung way too far to the left in some ways, and then now it's gone probably too far to the right in others. And I think what will happen is if we as an industry can come together, and I know Jerry Norton's a huge part of this too, what he's trying to do with regulating and creating like a wholesalers association, just like, the real estate investors, or I'm sorry, real estate agents have theirs. If I take Jerry's stances in a lot of ways, right? I think you are going to have a consolidation of power when it comes to the big guys. This is why I said age of operations is a huge thing right now. Those who have their operations dialed in are going to be the ones that are going to be able to stay, have that stick-to-itiveness. I think that you're going to start to see a lot more people going to wholetailing versus just straight up wholesaling. In fact, that's what my preference is. I don't even like to wholesale if I can avoid it, because I'm going to make a hell of a lot more money if I actually take it down and then turn around and relist it on the MLS. So one of the things that I'm hoping to see, and I'm starting to see a little bit more of it coming out now, is lenders who will do these short-term loans, for call it 6 to 9 months or something like that wholesalers can use to actually take these things down, then relist it on the market, right? I'd like to see it to where these loans are maybe a little bit longer, in order to, especially for, the market's softened up a little bit, right? So like I've got one client who's he's got like 20 some odd deals in his pipeline and nothing's moving right now. It's like, well, what happens whenever you come up against those types of situations? One, it's a sales problem. Like I said, shit rolls downhill. And so training your sales reps better to lock up bigger discounts, I think is going to be even more important. And I think that's the other thing too about all this regulation is, who does it hurt more than anybody? The homeowner.
Oh yeah, they don't realize that. That's a whole other combo we could.
I know.
It was protecting the real estate agents.
Yeah, that's all it was. I mean,
the one state straight up said, so I forget the state, but one of the laws, South Carolina said these laws are in place, like having the seller back out, that clause is only if.
Oh, that's Pennsylvania.
Not Pennsylvania. You don't use a licensed agent. If you use a licensed agent, the seller can't back out on you. Yeah. Which I thought was so wild to think that they could approve that, because that just violates all kinds of contract. The fact that you're forcing me to do it, even if you're buying it for yourself, if you're not using a licensed agent, that seems like such type of collusion and biasness. Like, it's just.
Oh, dude, you and I can go into a whole 3-hour conversation probably just about this stuff right here.
So what about newbies though? Let's circle back. Yeah. So big guys, it's going to be harder to do.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be harder to do. I don't see wholesaling going away entirely, because I think just because these laws are on the books, there's nobody who's actually really truly policing it. And something I heard, it was crazy the other day, because like I'm big into owner financing. Like that's my favorite way of disposing deals. Just to give you an example, like the whole Dodd-Frank Act that everybody was so scared about. I talked to a lawyer 2 weeks ago. He said, "Did you know there's not been one single lawsuit that's ever been challenged in court under Dodd-Frank?"
It's a huge thing in the mobile home park space.
Yeah.
Because we owner finance and seller finance our homes. You can only do so much. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's never been, no one's policing it. It was meant for the big guys, not intended for this.
Right. Yeah.
You would have to really F up. But should I just do something else?
Oh. No.
I mean, it's going to be harder to get into. I mean, really, and I think you should. Because my opinion is, if you don't really want it,
if you don't really want it and you're like just looking to make a buck, then no.
Yes, which is what the majority of the industry was and is becoming less of.
Right.
But like, it's so easy. Carlos, I keep using you as a reference, but you tell me the stories about like, oh, I heard of wholesaling. Like, how easy is this, or how much money can I make? And the people ask me that all the time. The perception is it's easy. You make a shit ton of money by doing little work.
It's simple. It's not easy. There's a very big difference.
Right? I like that.
There's a very big difference between simple versus easy. So I actually am a huge fan of kind of pivoting more towards like, let's actually take the properties down themselves, right? Versus just straight up assigning a contract. I think that's been bastardized to what it used to be. I mean, real, if you think about like the actual term of like what is real wholesaling, it's buying something low and selling it at a higher price, but not at retail, right?
100%.
That's exactly what it was before. Is like you'd actually buy something, put it on the market, sell it, and then that's how you made your profit. So this whole wholesaling term is really inaccurate. You're just you're flipping paper. You're not flipping real estate.
Well, I'm with you on all that, but the reason why I say all this is not just this. Listen, your idea is cool, but you're not cheap. And I'm sure as you become more successful, it will become more expensive, as should a good product. And John, your software is not cheap. It's a great product. Why should it be? PPC leads are not cheap. In the laws, I said earlier, TCPA, all these spam likelies, all these things, smartphones more expensive now more than ever, as it should be. And it's not $2 in my mom's basement to get in, and it's only going to get worse. So when you talk about these big guys, I'm not talking about closing deals and how the end of it looks like. I'm talking about just even getting the deal takes a lot more money and time than it did before. Do you see that getting worse? Worse? I don't think that's the right word, but worse, or
I don't know. I think if you're wanting to start a company, I mean, this is now the way that the pendulum has swung has become. It's no different than starting an electrical, home services company or a plumbing company or something of that nature.
So
right?
we've leveled out.
We've leveled out.
We're
I
just
think the bar is higher to get into the industry. I would like to see some regulation come in, like to where you have to get licensed if you want to do wholesaling. Right now, if you want to just buy and sell houses, no, you don't have to do that. But that's totally different. I think having a little bit more regulation actually is a good thing, right? So to your point, like if you're a newbie getting into this, I think you really better want it in order to do it, or just use it as a supplement for the income that you're currently making in your job, right? But if you're not really truly ready to commit to building this as a business, then don't even start.
Good point. Who starts a side electrical business? Yeah. Who requires? I think BP froze. Yeah, BP lost power. That's pretty funny. I'm gonna turn him off here. All right. Well, this is great transition. Your face is now like perfectly covering that. Let's do this. Why don't you just tell people what happens when they scan that QR code, and then we've got one final question for you to go over here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Lois, when they scan it, should go to the book a call function, right?
Yep.
So yeah. So it'll just go directly to a jot form that basically you put in your information, just to request a time to jump on the phone with me. I'll take a look at everything. We'll hop on a call. We'll talk for 30, 45 minutes or so. Hear kind of what you're looking to do, whether you're trying to get into real estate versus you're trying to, hire one of these acquisition reps or grow your company. Either way, we got a whole bunch of different solutions for you. But the main thing right now is this is our main thing, to really focus on helping you get the sales process dialed in first. And then everything else we can kind of focus on later. Because like I said, this is the 20% that's going to make 80% of your results.
Love it. Awesome. Well, everybody scan that code. Get connected with Matt. And then, Carlos, I'm going to let you tee up the question.
Cool. Can you pull up you already got me. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is I think Viebs will have a special appreciation for this because he does so many interviews and kind of likes to get a qualitative feel for somebody, which is part of the reasoning that we do this. So this is just like a little thought experiment, get to know the guests that we have on a little better, hoping BP joins here before you give your answer. But this is a little exercise. So imagine you're in a gladiator style arena. What you have to do is you're going to fight every group of these animals except the 2 groups that are there to defend you. So here are the options, and I want you to take a second to think about this. So you have 50 U.S. bald eagles. You have 10. Are those gators or crocs, John?
Those are crocs.
Crocs, okay. 10 crocodiles.
No,
3 grizzlies.
Yep.
3 grizzly bears. 7 bison. You have 1 U.S. sniper. Imagine unlimited ammo, and he's right next. He would be right next to you, and just knows knows like how you want to guide him. 15 gray wolves. Not a typo. 10,000 New York City rats. 5 silverback gorillas, and 4 lions. So you're picking 2 of those to defend you, and they can kind of know the mission. Like they know that they're there to defend you and attack everybody else. And then the opposing side, they start on the other side of the arena. They know the same thing. They're kind of working in unison together to attack you. We got BP back on live. So that's the idea. Which 2 groups are you picking to defend you to survive and eliminate the rest of the animals here?
And they all know the mission is to defend.
They all know the mission. They all know the mission is to defend you and is for survival.
I'm going for the sniper and the rats.
Ooh.
I don't know if we've had that combo before.
Sniper and the rats. What's your thought process there?
Well, the rats are small enough that there's so many of them that they can overwhelm everybody else and that they can distract. There's only 57, 67, 70, 85. Let's see. I got 89. And so I have 94 targets essentially that I have to go after versus I've got 10,000 rats that can distract the 94. And if I've got one sniper who's really good and he can take out, 94 targets within a certain amount of time while the rats keep them occupied, that's what I'm going to go after.
I don't know if anybody's brought math to this before.
That's maybe the most efficient and logical, concise answer we've had on this show, guys. VP, are you back live with us?
Yeah, I'm back live. I disagree.
Of course you do.
I mean, listen, anybody who watches this show knows I'm a proponent. Used to be a proponent of the sniper when he was allowed to be in the stands. Now that we brought him down into the arena, my argument back to you, Matt. Not that you're wrong. You're entitled to pick your team. But you got 10,000 rats, and I get it. You're going to divide and conquer. Once your sniper's gone, you have no weapons. Once your sniper's gone, you're literally relying. All you have is bare hands. You have nobody to actually kill, fight, anything. You're hoping for the overwhelmingness of the rats. But what are you doing with the grizzly bear that's going to eat you? If the sniper gets eaten by the first bear, the other 2 are coming after you while the rats are doing the other thing.
Yeah, that's assuming that I'm going to keep the sniper right next to me, and the rats are going to have to definitely keep everybody super occupied. Yeah, from that perspective, if they get taken out, then I'm screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. Once the sniper's gone, you're screwed. The sniper in the stands was a much better teammate than the sniper down with the rest of the animals.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. What's your answer then?
I switch it all the time. I think now I used to be with the wolves. Now I'm with the rats and the bulls. Because I think the bulls can take the gorilla, the bear. They could trample the crocodiles, the lions. I mean, shouldn't be a problem if they team up and gore them. I mean, honestly, I feel like that's the best. You just got to take out the sniper first, because that sniper can easily take out 7 of my bulls if I don't direct the rats to him first. Once the sniper's gone, I don't feel my team can be beaten by anybody.
My second choice would have been the wolves and the bears.
The wolves and the bears?
Yeah.
I dig that. I used to be wolves and gorilla. I thought the silverback and the wolves would have been the best combo.
Yeah, I like the number of the wolves, and the fact that they hunt in packs too.
Yeah.
And then the bears just for the extreme ferocity.
Oh yeah, the bears are taking out the lion. I mean, the bears, the crocodiles or alligators. I don't know.
Bulls would be tough. I see where you come out with that though. So yeah,
bulls are tough.
Because they'll trample the gators, they'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
And
crocodiles,
they'll trample the crocodiles.
How are you going to get past the eagles, though?
I don't know.
Yeah, the eagles can come down and get the eyes. I've been leaning a little bit. I think offense, defense. I've been leaning a little bit more eagles, just because they could literally just no one can get up in the air except the sniper. None of these could attack high end except the sniper. So can come down.
The silverback could grab them out of the sky.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what I'm doing with them. I've never solved that problem other than when they're attacking me, I grab them by the talons, throw them on the ground, and let the rats take care of them.
Yeah, 50's a lot.
It's a lot.
50's a lot. Someone made a compelling case for bison. It's escaping me who it was, but someone knew a lot about the bison. I did the
powerful they were. ChatGPT'd it one day.
And it's funny, Viebs, we've been bringing this question up for a while, but do you remember like a couple months ago when it was a really popular thing on social media where it was like 100 men versus one gorilla.
Oh yeah.
That argument. So it's funny now that this is kind of came to the fold. The rats, I love your answer. The rats are just so many.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's compelling. I do like the silverback.
And to your point, there's 97 other targets. That's 1,000 rats per target.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how they'd get in the air.
Yeah. Unless they just multiple, like as one of the eagles comes down and the multiple of the rats just go over or like swarm the eagle kind of situation.
Like a zombie movie where they
climb. Yeah, my whole thing is predicated on the assumption that I don't lose my sniper. If I lose my sniper, I'm done. So
yeah.
And I've done, so it's funny, I've done something similar like this with my son. He plays Minecraft a lot. He's 7. And so they have these mobs, like these unlimited number of mobs. You have to pick which one you want to go with, right? And so you either do one of the, I don't know, you do like a zombie or something like that. And like whoever the most powerful mob is, and that's who you got. And maybe you got like 5 of them. And then you got like these smaller mobs. And usually it's always the smaller mobs who win. So that's why I went with that answer. So
that's very funny.
Anyway, cool stuff.
Oh, Matt, thanks for coming on. Great discussion.
For having me.
Awesome episode.
A lot of fun going through what you're doing, how it relates to where we see the industry going. But I really like your program. I think it's a great service. I think it's a needed one. I've been talking to companies that are currently hiring acquisition people, and the amount of stress I see on their faces as they talk to me about the process of, hiring, finding, training, weeding out, like what kind of leads do they give them? Because we don't want to spend that much money on the leads to figure out if they're good or not. I definitely see a massive value in what you're offering too.
I'll leave you one other thing too, is like, if you don't have the ability to, or like the financial backing so far, like to hire me on, what I would recommend doing is, if you're going to hire somebody, is hire slow, fire fast.
I love that. Gary V.
Yeah. And then also for our training process is relatively simple, right? So if I was going to bring somebody on, I didn't have a placement service to do it. I would put a new acquisition rep just on the phones doing nothing but cold calling for the first 2 weeks, and doing I just want to test their grit, right? It's not that I expect to get a contract or anything like that out of it. But for 2 weeks on the dialer, getting used to the system, getting used to the CRM, all that other kind of stuff. And then I would have them sit in the lead management seat until they've got those 5 contracts, and from follow-up, because at least 75 to 80% of your deals are going to come from follow-up anyway. Great. So, and there's so many investors I talk to who have just so many old or dead leads that are sitting in their pipeline. Like, there's gold in them hills, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there are.
Go have somebody mine that and bring those dead deals back to life, or those dead leads back to life. And then that's how they prove themselves. It's first as a cold caller, then a lead manager, and then they only get new leads, new inbound leads. Like, you can give them cold call leads and stuff like that, or texting leads while they're sitting in that lead management seat, but don't give them new inbound leads until they've proven themselves with those five contracts, right? And I typically expect, usually first month while they're on, in that lead management seat, I don't expect a contract, but second month, I at least 1, maybe 2. And then month 3, I want to see at least 2 more contracts. And then, then we should start to see some consistency happening. So
that's great advice for people who can't afford your wonderful service.
Thank you. Appreciate it. He's back. Did power come back?
Yeah. That's how hot it is down here. That's how hot it is. Florida, overloading the circuit with everything running.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also the price of a 1920s home.
Yeah.
True. All right, gents. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.